According to Joint Economic Committee, as a ballpark estimate, over 20 million Americans in society at large currently have a felony in their past, and this immense population is effectively statistically invisible.
Mic check, mic check. So, on this episode, I'm about to talk to you about COVID. I feel like they're ramping up COVID part 2, if you ask me. Like, they got us good the first time, you know what I mean? They got us pretty good. There are a lot of inconsistencies. There's a lot of, like, wear a mask, don't wear a mask. You can't come in here with a mask, without a mask. Like, you know, there was so much, like, discrepancies about it. Let me tell you a little story, right? So, I was working at the bar 2 months ago. I have to check the dates exactly. I believe it was, like, April 15th, right? And it was like a movie, man. I'm all night the night before, I didn't sleep, but all that night, I'm just up watching all these COVID things, just scared. Like, they got me scared, worried and everything. You know, I got kids too, so it's like, damn, man. And as I'm watching, I'm scared. So I go to work the next day, and I'm a bar back / bartender, right? So I'm sitting behind the bar, and I'm seeing, like, these 9 guys come in all at the same time. And I'm sitting there, and I already don't want to be there. I'm already, like, this close to being, like, you know, telling the manager, like, you know, I don't want to be here, blah, blah, blah. So these 9 guys come in, and I'm, like, listening to their conversation, and they're like, you know, I just got back from Greece. I just got back from India. I just got back from Rome. I'm like, oh, what the hell is going on? I'm like, nope. And I just turned to my boss, and I was like, bro, I'm out. You know what I mean? I can't do this. I got kids. I can't even take the risk of them getting sick. Like, I was watching the news and everything all night. They spooked me. They got me good. Like, and he's like, I get it, bro. He's like, you got to do what you got to do. Funny thing is, 2 days later after that, 2 days right after that, they shut everything down because of COVID. They shut all the restaurants down. So it's kind of like I told you so. But it's like, man, I just kind of seen it for what it was. And then it's crazy because I read a lot of books, and I study a lot of business and stuff. But it's interesting to me because it's like, you don't have to study books to see read and do all that to see around the corner. Like, I'm like, okay, if they're shutting down the industry, which was just like having like the most booming year yet, right? The restaurant and bar industry, it's like, to open back up. This is what was going through my head as I was walking home, as I left the building. I was like, if they open back up, it's not going to just be like everyone's flooded, everyone's busy. And we were already a new restaurant. We were only open for like 2 months. So we were just barely just getting into our stride. And then boom, COVID. It's like, damn, man. If they open back up, it's not going to be a light switch where people are just going to flow back in. And then I was even thinking to myself, like, it might just be to-goes, you know what I mean? And that's a whole nother story for later in the episode. But so that's where I was. So I called that. I was like, man, like, you know, it's crazy. To think that you would reopen during COVID and think that you could operate the exact same way as you was operating before. Like, the world has changed. Like, if you don't make changes, you will fall behind. Like, this is a perfect example. There are plenty of businesses going out of business right now because they refuse to change. They think they can just operate the same. Oh, we're open now. Yeah. Like, build it and they will come. No. Like, you have to change the game plan. You have to do advertising. You have to do marketing. You have to call. You have to get parties in there. Like, there's so much to do. The place I was at just refused to do that. So I was like, you know, it's what it is. But look, I got some numbers for you. So this is about the face masks, you know what I mean? Because there's a lot of speculation about the face masks. I seen this doctor, this meme, and she said these blue face masks, actually these ones right here, she said these blue face masks do absolutely nothing. Most face masks that are cloth and stuff do absolutely nothing. She blew out a candle through the face mask. It's like, imagine the disease can just come in that easy too. I'm like, mind blown. So look, here's just a little article about the face mask. Starting Tuesday, May 26th, in order to minimize the spread of coronavirus, it will be mandatory in Minneapolis, that's where I live, Minneapolis, to wear face masks or other cloth face coverings inside stores, hotels, recreation centers, the Skyway system, and other government buildings, right? It's required now, right? Just ridiculous. Businesses won't be required to provide face masks to customers or employees, though employers will be required to mandate the use of masks by their workers. Violations could be punishable up to fines of up to $1,000. It's ridiculous, right? So now you're forcing us to wear face masks. It's not proven to help. It's not proven to you're preventing the spread. I thought just ask me a month ago, I'd have been like, hell yeah, wear a face mask. But now that I do my own independent research, it's like, man, y'all just, I don't know what that is, a scare tactic or what. Like we don't got to get into the conspiracy theories, but I just feel like, man, they just pushing it back on us. And now you're telling me that these businesses that are, the average restaurant operates on around 13% profit, right? You're gonna find that business $1,000 if someone in there ain't got a face mask on. Are you kidding me? So this is my point. Is you see around the corners, this industry is going down. It's so shaky. I don't even be in that industry anymore. I want to be a bartender so bad. I wanted to be a bartender my whole life, and it's finally when I achieved it. They were like, the next week, COVID. Damn, So there's this other article. Talks about what does it say? It says 4 things to know about the food and drink industry during COVID-19, the pandemic, right? It says some restaurant workers, especially cooks, have been able to maintain employment because of to-go orders, right? They are open for to-go orders. Now, if you're already operating on 14% profit margins, and now you're only offering to go, come on, man. That's got to bring it down to 1 or 2%. You are not selling that much to go to make up for the business that you lost. Trust me, this is a bad situation that these restaurants and these bars are going to be in. Not even they're in right now. It's ridiculous to think this. Yeah, to goes, at least you're still getting the money flowing, but man, you are not selling that many to goes. You are not booming that much to get to make up for that, though. You know what I mean? It's ridiculous. So here's a couple numbers, right? That food and drink service job losses are staggering and unprecedented. Since March 16th, nearly 100,000 workers in Minnesota's food and beverage sector have filed for unemployment insurance. A significant portion of the 650,000 Minnesotans who have filed for income support because of the economic repercussions of the novel coronavirus. Now, in 2010, the total was 24,000 people that filed for unemployment. We're 5 times that right now. We're 5 times that. And it's interesting because they called me back. The bar I worked at, the young bar, the two-month-old bar I worked at, called me back and was like, yeah, V, you want to come back? You're our best worker. Of course I am. But if I can't control the marketing, if I can't be in the conversation of the marketing and the advertising, I don't want anything to do with the bartending, the bar back. I was barely, man, I set my standards. Look, I got to be involved in this or not at all. And they're like, okay, well, it was good knowing you. It was like, all right, good luck, you know what I mean? And that's a prime, and I don't mean to shit on them or anything, but that's a prime example. They just opened up, no plan. They say they have a plan, but no plan. They just opened up, and they just think they can operate the same. It's scary, man. It's scary what people think and what people do when they're scared. It's scary. Scared people are scary. You know what I mean? So that's my little 2 cents on coronavirus and the mask. It's just so crazy to think. Now, if you watch the news now, they're kind of ramping up for Corona Volume 2. You know what I mean? Corona Stage 2 or whatever that. Now, let me ask you something. If they shut the country down again, if they tried a second time, would you be on board with that? If you own a business, even if you don't own a business, they said everyone got to stay home again, blah, blah, blah. Would you be on board with that? Or would you be that first one, all those inconsistencies, all that stuff that you were feeding us and blah, blah, blah? We don't buy that shit. You know what I mean? Would you automatically be Corona's back, blah, blah, blah? It seems like scare tactics and a lot of craziness. I live in Minneapolis, right? So there was protests and riots up here. I seen this article a couple days after the riots, and they said 193,000 people just tested positive, or 193,000 new cases, for coronavirus in Minneapolis. Where did they get that number from? I guarantee you, I promise on everything that I own, 193,000 people did not go and get tested. So where are they pulling these numbers from? You know what I mean? Like, what are they? Like, it's just baffling. The more you pay attention and the more you research it, the more ridiculous it just becomes. And that's my thing. Is like, I don't want to be in a shaky industry. I can't be involved in that. You know what I mean? A bar back is a struggle already. Like, I wasn't getting the money I was deserved anyway, and it was like a half or a quarter of that is like, oh man, come on now. Like, you know, hell no. So I'm interested, you know what I mean? If your business is up and running right now, like, what are some techniques you're using to get more customers in the door? What are some things that you're trying out that you weren't trying before? Like, how has your business changed, or how are you going to change the way you do business so you keep your customer flow in? New customers, old customers, because the amount of customers right now that are flowing in is not going to keep you alive. There are even more articles. I didn't pull them all up right now, but there are businesses going out of business and they're dropping like flies. Established stuff that's been here for 60 to 85 years. You know what I mean? Man, I read GNC just filed for bankruptcy. You know what I mean? Like, that's an established company. Like, that's ridiculous. And it's so crazy to even think about that. But yeah, that's my question. How are you going to pivot? How are you going to pivot during this COVID? Because if you don't, you might die, man. Grow or die. Get at you.
So let's look at the statistics. The United States is home to 5% of the world's population, but 25% of the world's prisoners.